Hey everybody, it's Pete. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of Stocks for Breakfast. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this video, we're going to talk about Rivian stock. It's got some news with Ford. We're going to break down the tiny technical analysis that it has now that the stock's in play for roughly 2 weeks after the IPO, performing incredibly well since the IPO. A little bit of profit taking last week. We had a good question. I see Ruby's here with us today. I believe it was Ruby that asked a question last week about shorting the stock. I was emphatic that I don't short stocks that are going straight up. The stock did pull back the next couple of days, so we're looking for a new spot to buy that. So we're going to break down Rivian stock today, what opportunities there are to buy in that stock today. We're going to go a little bit deeper today, though. We got a lot to cover. We're going to get into sector rotation. We're going to get into the top stocks. We're going to get into the top sector, give you a bunch of stocks to look at this week. This week is a short week with Thanksgiving this week, so just to give everybody a heads up in case you aren't fully aware of what's going on. Obviously, the market's closed on Thursday in honor of Thanksgiving, and then Friday, the stock market closes early. So it's an early day on Friday. We're also going to talk about, if you remember last week, we're raffling off, or we asked everybody to type into the comments your biggest trade for 2021 and give me a full breakdown on the trade. So we actually have a winner for that. We're going to announce the winner this morning. And also, we have a boot camp Black Friday offer that's coming this week. And I'm going to actually launch a new video here on YouTube on Friday morning that will also, it's about a 30-minute training to teach you what's going on in the boot camp, how to take advantage of the boot camp, 3 steps to trading success. And it's going to be a massive 30% discount on the boot camp, the 30-day boot camp, which is something that we have never done. I want to be clear about that. I've never discounted the boot camp. As a matter of fact, this is the last time I'm ever going to do it. Give you a little heads up on that. And it's also only available to a limited amount of traders. So watch that for a video on either Thursday or Friday announcing it. So that's coming up during the week. So we have a lot to cover today, and it's going to be a short week of trading. So I want to make sure we dive right into the trade ideas for today and for this week so that you have plenty of stock picks heading into. So stick around. I'll be back in just 1 second. Okay, so obviously today we are going to cover a bunch of new picks. And as I said, we're going to start out with the hottest sector. Actually, there's 2 right now. One is technology and the other one is everything related to electric vehicles. We're going to take a look at a bunch of stock picks there. So everything we do is for educational purposes. It's up to you to make the final decision. It's our mission to help you make better decisions. All right, so I just want to make sure I say hello to a few people. John Weinberg, always a pleasure to see you, pal. Thanks for being here with us today. Mark Cook, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Actually, you know what? Let me actually give the hat away first. I just want to make sure that we had a bunch of people participate in last week. So we asked you to put in your top picks. So I want to get on that. I want to pull that up on the screen first. And it is Michael McNamara. Michael McNamara, actually, we've been trading BKKT. It actually pulled back pretty hard. We are looking for it to actually bottom out, which it looks like it did a little bit on Friday. So Michael McNamara, if you're watching the replay or if you're watching it live, the hat is yours. All I need you to do is click down into the description and reach out to our support staff, support@stocktradingpro.com. I also want to highlight somebody else who I've kind of had a lot of back and forth with on the YouTube comments, and her name is Stacy. And I want to highlight a trade that Stacy made over the weekend, last week. And I want to bring out, I think one of the reason that I want to talk about this is this right here, this part of the equation, which is something that we spend a massive amount of time on, which is understanding position sizing. So Stacy Edwards, this is out to you right now. I'm so happy to see that you are working your positions in the context of putting your first idea on and then getting feedback on the market, letting it come back to you and tell you that if you get positive feedback, if you get follow-up order flow and it moves in your favor, then you're putting the position on. If you happen to be watching this channel, anybody happens to be watching this for the first time right now, it's the smartest way to end up trading. But I also want to walk you through a trade that we had last week. If you know, I had a prop firm in New York City. I'm going to walk you through a trade where it was one of the few times in our bootcamp community where I literally stood up in my seat on Friday afternoon and I said, this is an opportunity that prop traders will be putting on a bigger position size, and you'd end up having a big win or a small loss right away. And I'm going to show you that trade setup in just a minute. So Stacy, I'm very proud of you that you're actually learning to work those positions and you're doing a good job. So really, really good job. I just want to pull that up one more time just so everybody can see what I'm talking about. It's over here, a starter position. When you start to work your orders with starter positions, you actually get to the point where you are in control of the outcome. So as promised, we're going to go over, we're going to take a look at Rivian first. And obviously, we're going to start out with the market. We were up a little bit more in the futures before. We're also going to talk about, we're also going to do a deep dive into Bitcoin and some of the Bitcoin related stuff, still holding below that 60,000 level that we've been watching. Okay, so I want to get over into Rivian. First, I want to show you the news story that came out today, or actually came out during the week last week, where Ford and Rivian canceled plans to jointly develop an EV. So again, EV is one of the top sectors right now, electric vehicles and everything related to EV. We're going to touch on EV and we're going to touch on technology stocks. I'm going to give you a list of probably, I think about 7 or 9 tech stocks. So you can see here, tech and consumer cyclical. So tech is at the top of the list. Consumer cyclical is mostly up because of those electric vehicle stocks. So we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into that as well. So what I want to do now is I'm going to share on the screen a raw list of all the top stocks that meet the perfect order flow criteria heading into today, Monday, November 22nd. So I'm going to put this on the screen. You can take a snapshot of it just so that you can have the list for yourself to take a look at today. So you can see we actually have 24 new stocks, and you can see a lot of these stocks in consumer cyclical are electric vehicles. So Lucid, Tesla, LAC, BLNK, even Apple, as we mentioned the other day, Plug, and CHPT. So consumer cyclical is near the top of the rotation simply because of all those electric vehicle stocks. So we're going to look at electric vehicle, we're going to look at technology, and starting out the electric vehicle window with Rivian. Now, obviously, Rivian does not have a lot of history right now, right? The IPO just came out. It's got maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of trading, less than 2 weeks of trading. So how do we break this down to where it actually becomes a new trade now? So let's be clear about this. You know, anybody who says that they know where it's going in the future, that's not the case. Nobody knows. It's our job to set up the biggest probabilities of what's going to happen. So this is something you want to write down. It's our job to know what's probably going to happen next, but also know what we're definitely going to do. So probably happen next, definitely going to do. So right now, because there's not a lot of price action in Rivian, that means that we need to break this down on a little bit lower time frame and find order flow on those shorter time frames. So now if we work this over just using the weekly chart, which again, that's one of the biggest ones that we have right now, really the only one. Let me actually get the drawings off of there. You need to now break this down based on what the opening print is. So if we talk a lot about the opening print, we're talking about Monday's price action. So if we use this for last week, and I'm just going to zoom this in right here, that was the opening print on last Monday. So a week ago today. And I want to zoom this out actually on a little bit different time frame. You can see here, this is how Rivian actually traded all week. So you got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Thursday and Friday was really nothing to do there. It was pretty much of a mess. Going into this day right here is when actually Ruby last week was talking about short selling it, and we had a nice conversation about whether that was a great idea or not. I didn't think it was. I don't short stocks going straight up. There's just too many easier ideas that are going up in that direction already, and you look to buy them. So now what's going on? So this is what I want to, one of the biggest things, I think one of the most special things that you could learn as a trader is to learn how to read the tape. So remember, in the boot camp, we talk about 3 pillars. There's stacking the order flow, there's reading the tape, and reversing risk, right? So in this case here, I want to give you foresight into how to prepare to trade Rivian this week. So as we just mapped out, this is the last 5 trading days of Rivian. So this is last Monday through Friday. So this is the opening trade on last Monday. So as long as we are above the Monday opening print, we would then continue to look for buying opportunities. However, then we take it a step further. So this is just like a little lesson in learning how to stack the order flow. So if that's Monday's print, then we have to take that a step further into what's going on each day as the week unfolds and whether or not we're still looking at an opportunity that stacks the order flow. So I'm going to break this down now a little bit deeper into the daily chart and how Rivian traded last week and whether or not there were days to be involved with the stock as a buying opportunity. So this was Monday. Monday looked pretty good. Monday still opened up, still had some pretty good buying pressure. We had the opening print for Monday, and we had the price around Monday's opening price. Then we zoom out to Tuesday, and right there is Tuesday's opening print and how it traded throughout the day. So this is kind of an advanced topic, but it's kind of cool. I think everybody here can handle this. So essentially what we're looking at right now is, I'm going to zoom this out again, is here is Tuesday's price action. So here's Monday's opening price. Here's Tuesday's price action from the opening price. Now we're just putting the pieces together a little bit here to read the tape. So for the first 2 or 3 hours in Rivian, there wasn't anything to do. So you see how we're really starting to like definitively say there is something to do or there isn't. This right here is the Monday opening price. This right here is the Tuesday opening price. So price was above Monday, but for the most part, below Tuesday's opening price. So until here, literally the last hour and 15 minutes, that was the only time to be actively day trading Rivian on Tuesday. The next day opens up, and now we're looking over here on Tuesday, and you can see that's the opening price there on Tuesday. Let me actually zoom this out a little bit. Price was above Monday's open, but below Wednesday's open the entire day. So there was nothing to do in Rivian as far as a buying opportunity. Now we fast forward into Thursday. This is Monday's opening price. This is, let me actually make this a little bigger so it's easier to see. This is Monday's opening price. This is Wednesday's opening price. So you can see it was actually below the opening price on Monday for the entire day. So again, nothing to do there. Now we work our way over, that's Thursday, and here's Friday. Here's Monday's opening price. Here is Friday's opening price. So really this window right here of bullish opportunity, that was pretty much it. So how do we look at this now heading into this upcoming week? Well, you know that what we normally do is we look to work the charts. That's like the biggest thing that we've been really having some big discussions about is working the charts. So now we have this downtrend in Rivian, which is pretty strong, right? We have this move to the downside. But what we normally do is we look to see where the downtrend broke and what is the box. So we're now essentially looking at this box in Rivian on the hourly chart. That would, if it breaks down here and takes out this level, that validates this 2 days of heavy selling. But because this is where it broke, that is where the buying now would start to kick in and we'd be okay. So what we need to set up now, and this is what you need to write down, and that price is 139.79. So for all intents and purposes, I've been looking at 140. So here's how we'd be breaking down Rivian and reading the tape and reading the order flow in Rivian this week. Again, short week, but you can still do this. We now know that the last 2 days of selling is tough. We now traded into a box. So that's the right price for the stock right now. So we don't want to trade it while it's stuck in that box based on the way we're reading the order flow. So below 120 continues to validate the selling, and I'd just be leaving it alone. Above 140, the buyers are stepping back in. We're getting out of the box. We're breaking above the right price, and that's where I'd start to look to work a position. That's only the first time that we're going to read the tape. So we need more than one data point. So remember, we keep talking about the argument, and I want to buy it for this reason, and this reason, and this reason, and this reason. That's why I'm willing to accept risk. So we now know 140 breaks it out of the box. We're also now going to do what I just taught you, which is understanding how to read the tape using Monday's opening price. So we have 140 as the first part of the argument. We have today's opening price as the second part. So we're looking to stack the argument that we want to see Rivian above 140, above Monday's opening price, and above the daily opening price. If those three pieces to the argument are still there, we could then only then drop down to lower time frames and look to time entries as a buyer of Rivian stock. So that's how I'm going to be looking at Rivian during the week. I now have given you the exact levels that I'm going to be looking for to go after Rivian this week. Now, here's the big thing, and this happens to me quite a bit on these YouTube conversations. I just gave you the whole outline of the trade, right? I will have somebody come over to me and say, well, Monday it went down and Tuesday it went down. You were wrong. No, I wasn't. because if it doesn't trade above 140, I'm not doing anything. Just do me a favor, type in the chat here. Do you understand that? It's critically important that if I determine that's the right price and I'm not going to do anything unless it gets to a level that matters to me, I'm not doing anything. So if Rivian continues to float to the downside, never gets out of this box in a bullish way, the way I just described it, and doesn't meet the other criteria, I'm not even going to be in the trade. So if you really want to elevate your thinking as a trader, again, this is what we talk about in the boot camp all the time. If you want to elevate yourself from chart reader to trader, traders build all of these pieces. And again, I get another question, which I'll answer it now, is, well, if you like it above 140, why don't you get it now? Because I don't want to buy it where sellers shoved it down last time. I want demand to punch it through that level. Then I'll piggyback on the coattails of the smart money. That's where the easier trading is hiding in plain sight. I don't bottom fish stocks that are going down. I don't short sell stocks that are going straight up. I look for somebody with big pockets, big money to push it in a direction that's obvious. And I need to have room to go, which is profit potential, to justify the risk on that trade. So I just wanted to answer two comments before they happened. Why don't you get involved early? And it went down today. You were wrong. Both of those are incorrect statements based on the way that I just built the argument. So what I hope to do is I hope to open your eyes up to the fact that there's more to trading than just saying I want to be a buyer of that stock. It's just simply not enough. You need to determine risk. You need to determine the probability of profit and whether or not your profit target's going to be hit versus your stop loss. Then, as we just talked about before with Stacy's trade in Amazon, you then need to determine your position size based on that scenario. So remember, we talk about the stock market power pyramid in this context. There's the market on the bottom of the pyramid. One level up is sector rotation, which is, we've just shown you that, right? This is what we look at every day, sector rotation. One level above that is a group of stocks within the sector. And today we're going to talk about a group of electric vehicle stocks and technology. So we're going to break down technology as well. So what I'm going to do now is, as promised, I want to work my way over into some technology stocks, which you can see right now is the top of the list. So these are stocks that meet the criteria that I'd be looking for to then time entries into those ideas. It doesn't mean I'm going in there and buying all these stocks this morning. It means then I break my game plan down a little bit further, the same way that I would hope that you're doing, to determine how much room is there to go and how close we are to the optimal entry. So I'm going to come off the screen now, and I'm just going to pull up some technology stocks to consider trading this week and especially into Monday, and why. Okay. So we're going to break this down. We're going to go over here. We're going to put this back on the daily chart. And we're going to start out with MTTR. So again, just give full context. We're looking at the strongest sector right now, which is technology. And some of these stocks where you can see technology is kind of dominating this list. So we want to float on over to where the smart money is already allocating their picture. All right. Yes, Clyde, I don't know if you just hopped on the call. We actually talked about that already. We had the article up over here. We talked about that. All right, so MTTR, again, we're in the technology sector. So if we're working MTTR a little bit, we would actually now take this out because the stock has now gone parabolic, and now we are looking at new boxes to be drawing. But MTTR, and just to bring this out a little bit more, plenty of room to go. The next push higher would actually be into all-time highs. So you can see the stock is relatively new as well. So we're pausing just in front of all-time highs. Next, one of the metaverse stocks I think everybody is talking about right now is NVIDIA, and it's up another $8 again today. So remember, I want to challenge you now. I'm giving you the list of ideas that meet order flow criteria. Now you need to take that next step, and you want to write this question down. It's critically, critically important to timing your entries. Is how close are you to the optimal entry to justify a new trade? If there's room to go, then the next question you ask yourself is, based on what it normally does, based on where it is, what's the right position size? So remember, we just talked about Stacy. I'm going to bring this up on the screen again. And probably one of the most exciting things is Stacy talked about how she worked the position based on the stock. So really good job by Stacy. So again, NVIDIA is number 2. Next is Micron. Micron actually, let me zoom that out. Micron finally breaking this downtrend right here. Now, this one didn't really go into a clean box like we've been drawing in a lot of the other stocks, but it did have a push and a pause, a push and a pause. And now we've broken out to the next trade, and you can see it's got some room to go. The problem here now with Micron, and I want to zoom this out because this is a good example here where you can clearly see that Micron keeps having sellers come in at this price once, twice, 3 times, and we just got up there and stalled again. So what I'd probably be looking for in Micron right now is this. I'd be looking for a couple of day pause before I look to make another run up to this 94, 95 level. So I want to make that clear. If you were in the community with us, if you were in the boot camp with us, we'd be game planning Micron for a longer term swing trade after the next pause. So remember, we talk about this all the time, especially here. We make money during the push. We manage risk on the pause. So right now, because Micron just rallied pretty hard, even though it was only one day out of the previous pause, it just rallied into significant resistance. Resistance is where sellers did something significant the last time. So for Micron, although I like it and it meets the order flow criteria, I'm going to be looking for a pause for the next swing trade. But if it's active today, I can day trade it. So again, making that distinction between day trade and swing trade. Okay. So Micron meets that criteria. Obviously, Apple, a ton of news on the Apple car, the Apple EV, which we're going to talk about more electric vehicle stocks. ENPH, breaking it down as a sector. Again, really nice push after earnings. Pause a little bit. Nice day on Friday. You can see it's also up again. So again, I'm going to challenge you as a trader. I'm talking about some individual stocks. I'm going to bring this up on the screen one more time. This is how you level your game up. This is what we do all day, every day in the boot camp. All right. So if we just talked about a sector and now we're talking about breaking it down, you'll notice it's very specific on these sheets. Let me actually zoom that out a little bit. That not only are we talking about the stock and the sector, but now it's your responsibility to go into the individual industries and see where some of the money is hiding. So we just talked about ENPH, which is a solar stock. So now if that's one of the stronger stocks, what should you be doing? You should immediately go into whatever software you use and say, what other solar stocks might be in play right now? And are they worth my attention today? So do that as a deep dive today prior to the market opening today. So we're kind of giving you a little bit of advanced lessons. And again, if you haven't joined the boot camp, this Friday is when you're going to want to get in there. So ENPH is on that list as well. TSM, again, we're sticking with technology stocks. TSM, a big resistance level here. So we've been talking about this last week. We want to see it above 124. Continuing to move down that list, Adobe with a nice breakout last week as well. Pretty good volume on the breakout as well. So we need this to stay above 680. ADI, also Microsoft, all resting at highs. So that's the top list of technology stocks that meets the perfect criteria. Now we're going to segue our way over into what we've been talking about today, which is the electric vehicle stocks that have been really, really good. Not only electric vehicle stocks, as well as anything tangential to electric vehicles, such as charging stations. We actually saw a news story this morning that the United Kingdom is now mandating that all new houses built in 2022 and beyond are required to have electric vehicle charging stations built into the house. If you have any doubt about whether or not electric vehicle stocks should be in your radar right now, should have some of your focus, it should be. I'm telling you right now, we've been trading them pretty much every single day for the last 6 to 8 weeks. And when a industry group is on fire, it's your responsibility to stay there. We actually talked about it last night on our swing trade coaching call, which is when an industry group is on fire, it's your responsibility to stay there until you see signs that it's no longer in play. And I'm going to give you an example of that because it's something that we played last year. If you remember, we just talked about ENPH in the solar sector. Well, last year, probably around July, the solar industry group was on fire for about 5 weeks, and we were trading almost nothing but that group for 5 weeks. I just want to give you a heads up on why I keep saying we are all over electric vehicle stocks. Now, I want to give you context for both the heat of the sector of the group and then how to understand when the group is no longer in play, which usually happens on the weekly chart. So I'm just going to zoom out here for a second, and we're going to take a look at this stock right now. Not much going on, right? But this is what I'm talking about. Okay, we were on this in the boot camp last year like nobody's business. As soon as we were recognizing the order flow changing in the sector, so we were paying attention here and doing this every day. We were paying attention here and doing it every single day. We then went over and found where the smart money was, and we were in this for 5 weeks, day after day after day. How did we know that it was time to stop trading them? Well, that's when we jump over to the weekly chart and we started to pay attention to indecision candles. Let me zoom this out a little bit here. You could now see here, it was, and you probably remember the language we used, well bid, well bid, well bid, well bid. Wait a minute, bearish U-turn, indecision candlestick, selling, indecision, indecision. As soon as we started to see indecision on the weekly charts, we stopped trading them. So what do we do when this no longer became easier to make money in? We went right back to our sector rotation sheet and we went to look to find. And again, I give this to everybody in the boot camp as soon as the day finishes, every day, no later than 5 o'clock. I give this to everybody in the community. When one sector kind of loses its shine, we go and find the next place that the smart money is starting to allocate their capital. Remember, it's our job to say, where are deep pockets spending real money, paying higher prices from one day to the next, 1 week to the next, and what's the best place for us to piggyback on top of that order? And that's here. Once we understand what's going on in the bigger picture of the market, then we go down to the sectors, then we go down to the industry groups. So now we've already talked about two. We talked about the solar sector, we talked about technology. Now we're going to segue into a different industry group just to give you some ideas of the stocks that we're watching, which are electric vehicle stocks and electric charging station stocks. Okay, so let's actually walk on over to that. And we'll start out with probably the most popular of the group, which obviously is Tesla, right? Obviously, Tesla is the granddaddy. Hopefully last week you watched the video where we talked about the Tesla short covering rally here, and that rally is still going. All right, what else are we looking at in this sector? Well, Lucid. Lucid is one of the top stocks right now in this sector. It's more of a luxury vehicle on the EV side. Other ones are Ford, General Motors. General Motors is actually setting up as a stock I really can't wait to be involved with today. Then we kind of work our way over into Chinese electric vehicle stocks. I'll give you the list that we normally trade, or at least have in our watch list every day. Just full disclosure, these stocks have really getting beaten up by the Chinese government right now. They really haven't been trading as well, but I want to give you the list anyway. NIO, XPEV, and LI. Those are pretty much the ones that are the stocks that have been on our list, but not necessarily in play recently. The ones that we've mostly been trading right now are Lucid and Tesla. Those are probably the two at the top of the list. And one's $1,100, the other one's in the 40s. So plenty to trade there. Then we could work our way over into the charging stations. So remember, we just talked about there's the electric vehicle stocks, and then there's a whole bunch of other stocks related to the electric vehicle stocks, kind of like the car and the gas station kind of thing. So now we're going to make our way over into the charging stations that we've been paying attention to. And even there is also radar technology. LAZR is another one. So we'll take a look at two of those right now, just so you have a list. So LAZR actually had news last week, Luminar Technologies, and FSR is another stock that should be on your radar right now. So those are two stocks. But the main charging station stocks, CHPT, which was up 4% early. You can see the level that we're looking for. Look how hard we're working this chart. Got back above that 26 level is the main one we're keeping an eye on. BLNK, another one, and EVGO, which is setting up pretty well today as well. So those are, we just gave a massive list. So we went through the market. Stock futures are up this morning. We talked about Ford and Rivian canceling that joint venture they had. We did a breakdown of the exact price and how to read the tape in Rivian stock today and this week, and what it needs to look like for us to stack that argument to be a buyer of Rivian stock this week. Then we broke it down to electric vehicle stocks. We broke it down to technology stocks. We broke it down to electric vehicle charging station stocks. So now we have a whole bunch of different ideas heading into the day. Now it's up to you to take it that one final step, which is reading the tape and determining what's the right entry point based on your resources and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to take it a step further now. We're actually going to break it down into, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin took a bit of a shellacking last week. And we have to lay out the land for Bitcoin and Bitcoin futures. So the 60,000 level, we've actually broken it now to the downside, where we've taken out the lows of that 60,000, tried to get back above, and now we're actually forming a new reversal to the downside at 57,290. So Bitcoin, for me personally, needs to get back above that 60,000 level. At the least, I want to see Bitcoin go well bid and close above the open. So what does that look like? So again, we're scripting out what we need to see before we do it. I'm telling you, if you don't do this, this is what the boot camp is all about. The boot camp is about stacking the order flow, reading the tape, reversing risk, and then you take it a step further and we script out what we plan to do before the market even opens. And it doesn't matter if you're day trading or swing trading. And again, if you want to learn about the boot camp, click the link below. I see a bunch of questions in here. I don't want to get into that right now because I don't want to look like I'm turning this into a webinar. If you want to learn about the boot camp, definitely click below. But I want to give you a heads up of what we're looking for in Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining stocks that I look for this week. I am looking for this. I'm looking for higher highs and higher lows and closing higher. So right now we have well bid, but it's red. So that's only half the criteria. So what I'm looking for personally for Bitcoin, before I jump into the Bitcoin mining stocks, I am looking for well bid, which is higher highs, higher lows, and green. I need both of that criteria, not just one. So how does that affect the ideas of the stocks I'm looking to trade, which right now is Mara. Okay, bullish U-turn into well bid. Mara looks okay right now. Riot. And BT. Okay, those are the primary ones, but I would say that Mara is probably the top one that I'd normally be looking at. All right, so that's the breakdown. So now let's even take that a step further. Mara and Riot were both well bid coming off of bullish U-turns last week. So bullish U-turn is a short-term reversal pattern to the upside, and then went well bid on Friday, which was higher highs and higher lows. So now we have Bitcoin that is well bid, but below the open, and those two stocks are well bid and above the open. So that means, remember we talked about Stacy before, that means position sizing now comes into the equation. If you know what perfect looks like, and that trade scenario is less than perfect, but still good, I'd like to take the trade, but it wouldn't be with full share size until we get feedback that it starts moving in our favor and unfolding the way that we scripted it. So what does all that mean? Right? What does all that mean? It means that trading is infinitely easier and a heck of a lot less stressful when you understand how to put those pieces together like I just explained to you. And the way that we do it is, first we have the online education where you learn everything about order flow. Then we trade together. Then we have coaching calls. And then we trade together and we have coaching calls. It's all built around continuing education of you understanding. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Now I need to go and find that on the charts. If it's there, great, you trade. If it's not there, you step back, have another cup of coffee, and we just keep that cash in our pocket, which happened a little bit last week where the market wasn't that obvious and we really had to drill down into some stock specific ideas. All right. All right, everybody. If you want to learn about the boot camp, the link is below. I'd love to see you on the other side. A lot going on this week. So I gave you a very big list today because we have a shortened week. Probably Wednesday afternoon be a little bit lighter on volume as well. Still tradable. However, I got a lot of questions about trading on Friday, Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Even though the market closes early, I get a lot of questions saying, is it worth trading? And the answer is absolutely yes. In my experience, the Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is generally speaking a pretty good day to be involved, especially if you're day trading. All right. All right, everybody, I have to head on out. We got to get ready for our bootcamp game plan call, which starts in a little bit. If you want to learn about the bootcamp, click the link below the video. I'd love to see you on the other side. This is just a tiny piece of what we do every day. Have an awesome day. Michael McNamara, if you didn't happen to catch the beginning of the call, you have the hat coming your way. Reach out to our support staff. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'll speak to you soon.